Morning. Welcome to Gimpy's History Corner. I'm called Gimpy by my two grandsons, Archie and Ellis. This is on one of our trips, I think, to Turkey Run State Park. Archie's got his plushies. Archie loves those plushies for some reason, still does. They used to carry him with them everywhere, but not as much anymore as they're getting older. Now they're into video games or online games, whatever you call them. Right now it's called Wobbly something. Seems pretty harmless. I guess it's okay. Okay, this is video number 137, Surveillance Capitalism. What is that? Well, it's an economic system where companies collect, analyze, and monetize personal data to predict and influence human behavior, our behavior as consumers. Unlike traditional capitalism, which monetizes goods and services, this model monetizes human experience itself, turning clicks, searches, and even physical movements into raw material for profit. This emerged in the early 2000s when Google AdWords demonstrated the profitability of targeted advertising based on user data. So if I'm on my computer and I ask to see something about wind turbines for my backyard, over the next month or so, I'll be bombarded with advertisements for wind tunnels, which I think is a good thing. That's what I'm interested in. That's what I want to see. This expanded rapidly with social media platforms and later with the Internet of Things, which I'm not sure I'd ever heard of before, the IoT, where devices collect intimate details of daily life. So if I take a trip, like I drove to New York City a couple times, see my son. So the GPS in my car communicated to these advertisers that I'm traveling through Pennsylvania or New Jersey or Rhode Island, all those states on the East Coast. I start getting advertisements for things in those states. It doesn't hurt me any. In some cases it helped, but that's what they're talking about. They know what you're doing. They know what you're asking. They know where you're driving. And they target their advertising to, in their mind, they're helping you find something of interest in that area you're in or asking about. Okay, how does it work? Data extraction. Companies harvest data from online activities like searches, posts, and purchases, and offline sources like smart devices, GPS, or biometrics. I spend a lot of time on YouTube on my home television instead of watching sports or something like that, or I don't have cable. So once I select one, I watch these two guys doing art discussions called Waldy and Bendy. They're from England. I did that once. Now I have all of Waldy and Bendy's episodes coming up when I turn it on. That's one way. Behavioral prediction. Algorithms analyze the data to forecast user actions, preferences, and vulnerabilities. That's what I was talking about. Once you go on YouTube and select something, I'll be bombarded with other forms of the same thing. And it doesn't have to be the exact same thing. It'll be something similar. I do a lot of history videos. So once I started doing that, I got all kinds of different type of history videos from History Channel, History Hit, um, you name it. People doing history videos. Kind of where I got the idea for this deal. Behavioral modification. Beyond predictions, platforms increasingly aim to shape behavior. Nudging users towards certain purchases, political views, or lifestyle choices. Okay, now we're getting into social control by technology. What are the key concerns with surveillance capitalism? Obviously, there's a privacy erosion. Much of the data collection happens without explicit consent, often hidden in complex terms of service. Another thing that happens when I take these trips is I started getting unknown phone calls from the zip codes in those areas. I don't answer them. It's people trying to sell me something, so I don't answer them. But that's an example of surveillance capitalism. They know where I'm driving, so when they send me these robocalls, I guess you call them, it's always from the zip code that I had driven through. Democratic risk by manipulating information flows. Surveillance capitalism can undermine free choice and democratic processes. I think this was the complaint in the 2016 election that Russia used social media to put in their false information about Democrats trying to get Trump elected for some reason. Some reason the Russians like Trump, and Trump likes the Russians. But I don't know if that was ever true. I don't know if it was ever proven. It was just an accusation. Power imbalance. A handful of corporations hold unprecedented influence over individuals and society. Well, that's true. The people who control the social media control society in some ways. But I'm less convinced by that. I don't think I'm controlled by social media because I don't know, is YouTube considered social media? I don't think so. I don't do Facebook. I do Instagram for my sons, and that's it. I don't know. I'm not a social media type person. Legal gray areas. Most of these practices are largely unregulated. You know, after Trump did his January 6th insurrection, several of them kicked him off temporarily of social media. But he's back now, so it didn't make any difference. It did for a while. Broader impacts. Human behavior is the market. Privileges. It privileges engagement-driven content. In other words, action-oriented content. Sensational and polarizing are the specialties. It enables micro-targeting in elections. I'm not sure anybody has had their voting decision changed by these things. That probably just reinforces them. I mean, I don't go on social media to decide who to vote for. I know ahead of time. I know a lot of the social media stuff, which I don't see, but I know a lot of it is just lies. So I ignore it. It encourages addictive platform use. That is true. You get used to having all these things served up to you, and it becomes addictive. I've had guidance counselors when I was a practicing school administrator that hated social media because it encouraged kids to be even more horrible to each other than they were already. It used to be that bullies, once you left school, you could go home and be in peace. But now bullies could follow you home on social media. and make your life even more miserable. That's sad, but that's true. The Democratic risks, I'm not so concerned about. I mean, both parties use social media. I mean, President Obama probably pioneered that back in the day. But other countries using it, yeah, that's concerning. I agree. But, people have to be smart. You can't believe everything you read in the newspaper or the internet. You just got to know a lot of it are lies. I mean, some of the stuff I see, I just ignore. It's crazy talk. You gotta see it approved by several sources before it's anywhere near being true. And behavior modification, well, it doesn't work for me. I go out and buy things based on social media, and I realize that the GPS is tracking me. And when I travel, all my messages come back from those places where I've been. That's okay. I don't see any problem with that. Now, if I'm a international spy, the GPS is tracking me, yeah, that's a problem, but I'm not. I'm just an ordinary person. So I don't know. I'm not as concerned with surveillance capitalism as a lot of people are. And maybe I should be. Okay, thank you. It's raining today. Tuesday in Indiana is a rainy day. Tomorrow I get my stitches out over here. That'll be a welcome sight. They tell me this scar will turn into a nice white line eventually, so I hope they're right. Okay, have a great day. Watch out for surveillance.